What up, guys? Welcome to another edition of the Empire State of Milan. I'm Fabio, that's Beppe. All right, so what the hell happened yesterday, Beppe? We heard the rumblings of going into this game. We're switching from the 3-5-2 to the 4-3-3. Was this a good idea to do it against Udinese?
Well, the 4-3-3. Everybody's been breaking balls about this 4-3-3, 3-5-2. It didn't work out. Doesn't mean it didn't work out because it didn't work out. It just... Maybe this team has gone through this 3-5-2 for so long now that maybe they just... It's not time to experiment and do 4-3-3 anymore. I honestly don't know. Because obviously if we would have beat Udinese, everybody was going to say, oh, look what happened. But that didn't happen. So it's easy to say it worked, it didn't work. It obviously didn't work. I mean, you didn't lose 1-0, 2-1, or just, tied. You lost 3-0 at home to Udinese. That's not really this great team.
Bro, has Allegri lost the squad? Has Allegri lost you?
Well, Allegri, I don't know if he lost control. I just think that he's definitely to blame. I'm one of the biggest advocates when it comes to Max, but this time you can't really. I mean, you'd be a fool. Like, I understand people that want to be biased, but there's obviously been something going on, and if there's anybody that he lost control with, or somebody that's not really getting it, and they may have some friction, it's probably Leao. It's got to be Leao. Because you see how he gets on his ass, but Leao just seems not to give a fuck, which is more frustrating to me than Allegri just having a really, really rough patch, and also because of his doing, because of the stuff that just seems like it doesn't work. We've been complaining about not having Pulisic and Leao together. They play and nothing happens, but it's not just Leao. Obviously, Pulisic has been terrible since after Christmas, probably even a little before that too. Salamakers, never mind. So it's just the team has just been on a... I honestly don't know. I mean, obviously he's gonna get the blame, but it's easier to get rid of one person than to get rid of 25, which I always hated that, but that's just the nature of the beast.
So where is your anger right now for the current situation? Where are you directing your anger?
Am I angry about the situation? Am I angry? I mean, I still think we can still salvage this, also because other teams are dropping points, which is good for us, but how long is that gonna keep happening? So I'm angry because there's just some players that deserve a good smack in the face, and I don't understand what's going on. I mean, I get losing to Napoli, I even get losing the derby, which we didn't, but like, you drop points against Fiorentina, you drop points against Lazio, drop points against Parma, now Udinese. You're talking a good potential 9-10 points. I'm not gonna cry about the Scudetto again, because was never feasible, but Jesus Christ, you're talking about having a crazy run where it seemed like nobody could beat us since that Cremonese's first loss, and then you just fall flat. I mean, I get we only, Cortomuso and all that, we don't really score a lot of goals because, well, how could you score goals with that kind of team? Who's up front? Yet, it's incredible. It's incredible what happens.
Are there any players that you think deserve to stay from what you've seen from this season?
Does anybody deserve to stay? Well, I don't know, man. I don't know, because Fulkrug is a good sub, but I'm not too fond of him. Nkunku needs to go, but that's the thing. How do you get rid of a player that has that's making that much money and you spent that much money on? Salamakers has been so disappointing this season, and I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. However, how do I know that maybe he just doesn't work for Allegri? I always tell my very good friend from the Milan club, Rimo, I say this all the time. It's like my mantra: different place, different outcome. Maybe Salamakers was good under a different direction. Maybe he just doesn't get it underneath Allegri. But you have Nkunku, you have Fulkrug, you have Jimenez. Like, you have all these players that you pay good money for, and nobody is, even the defense. Like, Tomori needs to. I'm done with Tomori. There's all these players that, I'll be honest to you, there's more than, maybe I'm wrong, but I would say 60% of that roster probably could fuck off. Which is crazy because it's more than half the roster, and I'm just being nice because I probably think it should be more than that. But obviously, if you blow it up like that, then next year you're gonna say there's too many players to gel, so you're back to square one. You don't want to do that, but unfortunately, that's gonna be the problem. The problem is gonna be that to make that step up, especially if you do make Champions League, this is not really a team, mate. This is a team maybe that could get you deep in a Europa League run. Is that what they want to do? Because this you already know. This ownership group will never spend the kind of money that you think we deserve to spend. So, and if they sell players, which I think there's going to be big names that are going to depart. I just have this gut feeling that Pulisic is not going to stay around, and it makes it a lot easier to get rid of him, especially what's been going on. I think it's only a matter of time before they turn on him. And if he has a good World Cup and his value goes up, guess what? Milan doesn't care about the American because the ownership is American. They'll get rid of him.
And finally, right? So I gotta ask, what's more likely, Beppe? Is it gonna be Milan miss out and stumble all the way to the final 6 games and we miss out on Champions League? Or we're gonna find our footing and get ourselves pretty locked in that hopefully maybe the last couple of weeks will be clear of any danger? What do you think is more likely?
Man, I don't know. I still think we do, but I really did not expect that kind of a show against Udine. I really did not. It was, and I told everybody, it's like, I'm not worried just yet after the Napoli game because, you could lose a game like that, but lose against Udine, then I start to worry. And I would have worried, I would have 1-0 loss, but this is, you lost 3-0 at home. You got embarrassed. So I don't know what's gonna happen, but you definitely have, I don't want to say an easy schedule or even a tough schedule. You're right in the middle of it. But the game that really worries me is going to be that Juve game, because the way I see it right now, if I'm a betting man, I'm putting $1,000 on Milan not getting the 3 points against Juve. Probably a lose, but maybe it's a tie, because you never know. Because again, Milan is that type of team that will lose to a Cagliari, will lose to a Sassuolo. It's almost like a guarantee. Yet they'll play Juve and they'll win. Look, they beat Inter 2 times this year. Which at this point, I get that the derby's a big deal, but I'd rather give up those 6 points if it was me getting the 12 points that we lost on stupid teams. So, and that's ultimately what we didn't do this year. We did not feast off the teams that we should have feasted off on.
All right, guys. So that's been this week's awful game against Udinese, the Empire State of Milan. I'm Fabio. That's Pepe.
Wake the fuck up, boys.
Forza Milan.
That's all, folks.